What's going on, everyone? So, there's a lot of questions and talks about D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reaves as our starting backcourt. Now, they were the backcourt that led us to the conference finals. They are our two best shooters. They do make a lot of sense in the starting unit, especially if Jared Vanderbilt comes back, right? Because now he kind of fixes a lot of the defensive issues. D'Angelo Russell, he's been excellent defensively, but he's not Jared Vanderbilt defensively, but he's been really good. He's been disrupting passing lanes, being physical, having active hands, staying in front of his defender, closing in on traps very effectively and efficiently. Like, he's been really stepping up. Austin Reaves looks a little out of sorts right now, and I'm hoping he kind of rights the ship. D'Lo just is taking a lot of ill-advised shots and also just not hitting shots right now. And I am totally okay with the Lakers giving it a little time, right? A lot of the first two games, in my opinion, is just boiled down to us not hitting shots. And you got to imagine that eventually is going to start falling, that the Lakers are eventually going to start hitting shots. I mean, D'Angelo Russell was almost 42% from us for three last season. Austin Reaves was like 40% from three. You got to imagine that those two do find their shot at some point. And they are two guys that are excellent playing on the ball. They can both take over down the stretches. But there is a real argument of bringing one of them off the bench, right? And I want to talk specifically about Austin Reaves. Maybe I'll do like an individual video about D'Angelo Russell at some point and kind of focus more and make an argument for it with him. But what I want to dive into is Austin Reaves off the bench for several reasons. But before we get into it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You guys are awesome. But diving in Austin Reaves is the reason I like Reaves off the bench over D'Angelo Russell is one, D'Angelo Russell, I think, is a better playmaker at this point. Some people might disagree. The numbers, in my opinion, back it up. Right? D'Angelo Russell, he is really good at facilitating. I mean, he's a 17-6 guy, right? Like, he is more than capable. Even in the bad games that he plays, he's still giving you like 6 to 8 assists a game, right? So I think that he's a guy that is already more comfortable and can play make a little more. He's been better in the pick and roll actions than Austin Reaves has been, especially with guys like Jackson Hayes and Anthony Davis. So I think that you use D'Lo and you can run a lot more of those actions, a lot more of those sets. But making LeBron the point guard, did a whole video yesterday diving into LeBron and having him kind of be the point guard. D'Lo has been really good off the ball alongside LeBron James, right? And the other reason I really like Austin Reaves off the bench is one, he's familiar with it. Two, you can make an argument, most effective for the Lakers when he was coming off the bench. And three, now he can kind of just be him in that bench unit role. And he can be that gap player. That's where I believe he shines the most, as that gap player. He did it for Team USA, and he was their most efficient player. By like every metric, he was their best player. Anthony Edwards was their best player. But again, Austin Reaves was very efficient because he was that gap guy. You could play him with the starters. You could play him off the bench. You could do all that stuff, right? And you could still close with Austin Reaves, right? Like, look at the Suns game. They closed with Reaves and not D'Angelo Russell. So you could have D'Lo to start the game and then use Reaves to close the game. But in the meantime, you have Austin Reaves as that gap, that bridge player for the bench unit and the starters. Reaves can kind of come in immediately. You could still play Reaves alongside LeBron without D'Angelo Russell, right? And one of the big things, like, you saw LeBron James talking, Darvin, hey, why don't you put me at point guard and have Reaves, Taurean Prince, yada, yada, right? And that whole conversation. Well, a lot of that was because D'Angelo Russell played basically all of his minutes alongside LeBron James. So LeBron was basically saying, like, can I play with somebody outside of D'Angelo Russell? Well, the reason D'Angelo Russell plays so many minutes alongside LeBron James is because, again, the numbers back it up. D'Angelo Russell has been excellent alongside LeBron James, playing off the ball when LeBron has the ball and provide that shooting. So you could kind of have D'Lo be the guy to start the game, and then after that, just kind of mirror Austin Reaves with LeBron and kind of go back and forth, right, with between Reaves and D'Lo, and then close with Austin Reaves. Another thing that does is it allows us to kind of go bigger and better defensively in that starting unit. So if it was me, this is just my thoughts. Again, love to hear yours down in the comments. But I would go with D'Lo at the point, right? Just for position state. You can have LeBron basically be your point guard, or you could have LeBron be the point guard when Reaves comes in the game, right? However you want to do it. But I would have D'Lo, who, again, he's been really good defensively. So have D'Lo, put Taurean Prince at the 2, Jared Vanderbilt at the 3, LeBron at the 4, AD at the 5 to start the game. So now you got good size. You got D'Lo at 6'5", with what? He's got like a 6'10" wingspan or something like that. Again, been very active defensively. You got Taurean Prince, who's great 3-and-D guy. Also, if he continues his good shooting, I know last game he shot 0 of 5 from the field, 0 of 1 from 3, but I trust him to be consistent. He's been great all preseason, and he was great in that Denver game. Guys are going to have bad games. It happens. So you get that same level of shooting that you would get from Austin Reaves, but you also don't need to put the ball in Taurean Prince's hands like you do Austin Reaves. So now D'Lo can kind of just play the point guard position more with the starting unit. And then also when LeBron is kind of on the ball, D'Lo is so good playing off the ball. Taurean Prince doesn't need the ball in his hands to be effective. He's constantly a threat roaming out on the perimeter. You got Jared Vanderbilt defensively. So now you're better in the front and the backcourt defensively. You're probably the best defensive team in the league with this unit. You still have shooting. If Jared Vanderbilt does give you that offensive output from the three-point range as that corner 3 guy, then that's even better. That's just icing on the cake. So now you got a really good, versatile, switchable lineup, right? Your smallest player is D'Lo at 6'5". You know, you got a 6'6", 6'7" Taurean Prince. So you got good size at the 2 guard. You got Jared Vanderbilt. You can constantly run, you switch action where, Vando's on, say, Murray and Prince is on KCP. And, they run some screen. You can just have Prince slide over and swap, right? And Jared Vanderbilt could pick it up. And you're still in a good position defensively. So I would rather go with that personally and have Prince and Jared Vanderbilt in the starting unit. Another option, right, is to go with like Christian Wood. Now, I don't think you can play LeBron at the 3. So I think you would have to get a bit creative here. So if it was me, I think you'd have to go with something like a LeBron James at the point guard, quote unquote, right? Just for position's sake. So go LeBron at the point guard, maybe D'Lo at the 2, Vando at the 3. You have Anthony Davis at the 4, I guess, and then Jackson Hayes or Christian Wood at the 5, right? But then LeBron is basically guarding whoever allows him to play that scout role, right? So, again, let's say we're playing whomever, right? Let's say we're playing the Nuggets, right? Well, you could put Vando on Murray. You could put D'Lo on KCP. Have Anthony Davis basically kind of play that sag-off scout role with Jokic down in the post. And then Christian Wood could kind of defend more out on the perimeter. Have him maybe defend Michael Porter Jr. Right? So put Wood on Jr. LeBron could guard Aaron Gordon. And then AD kind of playing down, mirroring Jokic. Boom, there you go. Now you got the defensive lineup, right? Kind of go that positionless basketball with these guys. That is another option, another approach, which I wouldn't hate at all. I actually kind of like that too. And you got some more size. And especially if LeBron is more willing to play point guard. Because the thing is that, the whole reason the Lakers went and got Russell Westbrook, Dennis Schroeder before that, and then go and get D'Angelo Russell and stuff is because LeBron has said he doesn't want to play point guard. He wants to play off the ball more, right? Well, now he's saying he wants to play the point guard position. Okay, well then good, let him. Not the entirety of the game again, but like closing units, I think that those are the units that you could do, right? Go with some more versatility. Now, I know Darvin Ham really likes those point of attack guards and like a Gabe Vincent or whatever, but again, I would rather just go with the size. Go with, again, AD, LeBron, have Christian Wood, Austin Reaves to close over D'Lo, and then have LeBron James and Jared Vanderbilt or Taurean Prince or whoever, right? Like that's kind of the approach I'd go. But also, what that does is that puts Reaves off the bench, and now your bench unit is basically, let's say you go with what I was talking about with Prince at the 2 and Vando at the 3. Well, now your bench is Gabe Vincent, Austin Reaves, Rui Hachimura, Christian Wood, and Jackson Hayes. To me, that's the most well-balanced 10-man unit in the entire league by far. I think the upside for the bench is ridiculous. I think you can make an argument the bench could at times maybe even outperform the starters on occasion. All right, because Austin Reaves can go off at any point, and he's that Swiss Army knife guy. Rui Hachimura, we've seen him and his ability, although he's kind of struggled a little bit lately. But again, I expect some of these guys to get back in order. Jackson Hayes, now you can run a lot of pick and roll action with Austin Reaves as the primary ball handler at times. Have Gabe Vincent play off the ball. You can even plug in Cam Reddish or Max Christie, right? Like I just think now you have essentially Wood, Reaves, and Rui as your 3 primary scorers off the bench. That's great. That's 3 guys off the bench that can give you 20 plus on any given night. And then your starting unit still has D'Lo, LeBron, and Anthony Davis, who, again, now you have 3 guys that can go give you 20 plus on any given night in the starting unit. So you have that nice balance on the offensive side, and you still have some good balance on the defensive side for the bench unit. I think that that's the best approach. Right, so I really like the idea of Austin Reaves off the bench in that gap role. I just think that it's a proven formula to have worked. I also think Reaves would be less reluctant, right? Like, I think D'Lo already seems to struggle with confidence at times. I think if you put D'Lo on the bench, you might end up breaking him. And I think you need to keep D'Lo as the starter, where I think Reaves would be a little more accepting. And now you can kind of have Reaves in that Manu Ginobili role, which I think that could be your selling point. Like, look at what Manu did, and imagine what you could do in that role. And I think Reaves would be more accepting, more willing. He's also kind of been a bench guy since he's came into the league. So it's not something, he got a little taste of the starting unit. I get it, but you don't sell it as a demotion, because it's not a demotion in my opinion. He's still going to end up playing, and you're still going to end up closing, right? So if it was me, I would be talking to Reaves and being like, hey buddy, like we're going to bring you off the bench. We're going to close with you over D'Lo, but we're going to start D'Lo. You get the closing nod, which is more valuable, more important, right? So you get the closing nod. And we want you to basically just run the bench unit and be that guy, right? That way you can kind of be yourself a little more. It's not a demotion. We need this, right? Like, no, like if we didn't need it, we wouldn't make it happen. But we need it. That's how important you are, because you would also have more of an impact than D'Lo would off the bench, right? Like you kind of have it that selling point, but. Anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Whatever it is, I'd love to hear it. Let me know.